Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the June 23rd, 2019 edition of the Breast There Is, the Breast There Was, and the Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. As always, I am your host, Mikey B, WWE. And today is also the third episode of Season 3 of this podcast. And today's podcast will be dealing with tonight's WWE pay-per-view Stomping Grounds, which is the first installment of this pay-per-view in the WWE. This pay-per-view tonight, features 9 matches on at least the card as according to WWE.com's website. There is a chance that some of these may move to the kickoff show, and I stated at the top of Season 3 of my podcast that starting with this season and moving ahead, I am only going to count towards my prediction totals, matches which appear on the actual event itself. So, but for now, since there's not 9 matches listed on the website and there's no kickoff matches listed, I'm going to give my predictions for all 9, and then when the show unfolds, and we'll see how many of those actually make the card, and those will go towards my overall tally. Speaking of my overall tally, so far of the 2 pay-per-views that have gone on in at least what I refer to as this season of the WWE, the 2019-2020 season, of the 2 pay-per-views that have happened, I have got a total of 13 out of 19. I got 6 out of 10 at the Money in the Bank show, and then 7 out of 9 at WWE Super Showdown. So now getting right to our picks. The first of the 9 matches on the card tonight is a triple threat match for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship. The match features champion Tony Nese taking on Akira Tozawa, taking on Drew Gulak. I'm going to select Tony Nese to retain the WWE Cruiserweight Championship here. The second match of the night is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and it is Daniel Bryan and Rowan as the defending champions taking on the up-and-comers Heavy Machinery. While I certainly believe Heavy Machinery will get their day in the spotlight sooner or later, Daniel Bryan and Rowan haven't held these titles very long. I'm sticking with these 2 to retain the belts. Possibly this will be a feud which continues, but regardless, I think that it's too early on for Daniel Bryan and Rowan to relinquish these titles. And I guess, secondly on that thought, I think it's a bit too premature to award Heavy Machinery with the belts already. So I'm sticking with Daniel Bryan and Rowan to retain for those SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The third match on the card is a tag team match between Big E and Xavier Woods, 2 of the 3 members of the New Day, taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I am selecting Big E and Xavier Woods to win this matchup. This is not a matchup that seemingly has any potential to run a feud. This is just kind of a bit of a one-off match with no real further implications. So I'm going with Big E and Xavier Woods to be victorious over Kevin and Sami. Though I should note that Kevin and Sami, I think, will probably continue or at least eventually resume a spot more in the top tier matches and top title matches. So, but even so, I still think Big E and Xavier will be the victorious today. The fourth match is for the United States Championship. The champion Samoa Joe will be taking on the very exciting, the very flashy Ricochet. Kind of similarly to my prediction for 2 matches ago with Heavy Machinery, Ricochet is still, even though he's just an incredible athlete and extremely fun to watch and is exciting, I just don't see him winning the belt yet. Unlike that last match with Heavy Machinery and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, though, I feel that this one has the potential to become a feud or a program for at least a few months. So I think Samoa Joe is going to retain over Ricochet tonight, but I think Ricochet is going to keep competing for this belt in the coming months and will probably win it also in the next few months. So, but as far as tonight goes, Samoa Joe is my pick to win and retain the United States Championship. The fifth match of the night is between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Of the first two pay-per-views of this latest season of the WWE, both matches which involved Roman Reigns, I guessed the wrong winner in those matches. 2 months ago, I thought that Elias would be victorious over Roman Reigns in a dirty way with some help from his friends, Shane McMahon and company. Roman Reigns wound up beating him plainly. And then last month at the Super Showdown, Roman Reigns was taking on Shane McMahon. And I thought Roman Reigns would win this match, but Shane McMahon wound up winning with Drew McIntyre's assistance. There is no stipulation with this match that Drew McIntyre cannot have people ringside. So even though one-on-one I think Roman Reigns would probably get the win, I think that Drew McIntyre is going to have any number of 3 or 4 or 5 people that can help him out get a victory, such as Shane McMahon, such as Elias, such as the Revival tag team. So, I think that Drew McIntyre, it makes sense that Drew McIntyre wins in a very dirty fashion to defeat Roman Reigns. This is a feud which I believe will also continue on for a while, probably until SummerSlam. Both guys, I think, are destined to be in the top title picture during the course of this year and maybe beyond. So I think this will continue, and I think the dirty victories over Roman Reigns, I think, will start to build up until Roman Reigns gets a clean one, either next month or at SummerSlam. But I think Roman Reigns versus Shane McMahon's little posse and various members in there will continue. And my pick is Drew McIntyre to win over Roman Reigns tonight. The next match on the card, the sixth match, is for the SmackDown Women's Championship, with Bayley being the champion taking on Alexa Bliss. Anyone that's been tuning into WWE programming for the last several weeks has noted that Alexa Bliss has formed a new friendship with Nikki Cross. I think this will be potentially the only match of the night, the only championship match of the night where the belt will change hands. I think Alexa Bliss is going to get some assistance from Nikki Cross and will defeat Bayley and win the SmackDown Women's Championship. This is a matchup that I believe a feud will continue and a program will continue between these two. A thought occurred in my mind today as I was conducting this podcast that I'm wondering if how long Bayley's good buddy, what's her name, Sasha Banks, will be out of action and when she will make her return. Maybe not tonight, but I have a feeling if this Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross friendship continues and it becomes more or less 2 versus 1 against Bayley for a while, I think that Sasha Banks might make a return sooner than later. Quite honestly, I haven't looked into her injury history right now or what the current injury she's dealing with. I've mostly been sticking to watching the actual WWE programming, so I'm not quite sure what she's dealing with right now. But that said, I still think Alexa Bliss, likely with some help from Nikki Cross, will defeat Bayley and win the SmackDown Women's Championship. But this feud will continue on, most certainly, I believe. The next match is for the Raw Women's Championship, featuring champion Becky Lynch taking on Lacey Evans. This was one which I had probably the most difficulty deciding on who will win. The fact that Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch already had this title match back at Money in the Bank, with Becky Lynch being victorious in a clean way over Lacey Evans, makes one want to think that Lacey Evans might use some dirty tactics to win over Becky Lynch and win her first championship in WWE. I just don't think, ultimately, in my decision, that Becky Lynch she lost her SmackDown belt at that same show, Money in the Bank, when she defended both of them. I don't see her losing this one just yet. And I would be surprised if this feud won't continue on, because There's quite a good chemistry, and Lacey Evans has done, I think, a very good job as a heel, up-and-coming heel character to deserve such big championship opportunities. So I'm going with Becky Lynch to retain, but I think this feud will not only continue, but I think Lacey Evans will win a belt, or this championship very soon. I could very easily regret this prediction, and Lacey Evans might win tonight, but I'm sticking with Becky Lynch, I think, to hold on to the belt a little while longer yet before maybe the belt exchanges hands between these two women a few times. So Becky Lynch is my choice, ultimately, for that particular match. The 8th match of the night is for the WWE Championship, and it's a steel cage match between the champion Kofi Kingston taking on Dolph Ziggler. This one, to me, I don't see Dolph Ziggler, having just recently reemerged, having a realistic chance at winning the WWE Championship, so I'm going Kofi Kingston to retain. I suppose there's a chance this feud could continue on, but we're also, I'm noting on this pay-per-view, we're missing a couple of big players who aren't even booked on this match card, like Randy Orton, like AJ Styles, for example, Braun Strowman. So there's a lot of good guys that I think can get into the mix for these top belts. So I think Dolph Ziggler, I think this feud will end after tonight with Kofi Kingston winning and retaining the WWE Championship. The final match of the night is for the Universal Championship between champion Seth Rollins taking on Baron Corbin. A special stipulation in this match is Baron Corbin gets to select the special guest referee. And even though that might lead some people to believe that him being able to choose the special guest referee might enable him to win the Universal Championship tonight, I'm not one of these people. I don't think Seth Rollins is losing yet. Even though, again, this is a bit of a golden opportunity for Baron Corbin with him being able to select the special guest referee, I still think Seth Rollins, whomever the referee will be, will still manage to come away holding the championship. Don't be surprised if this special guest referee winds up being Brock Lesnar, but regardless, I think Seth Rollins wins this matchup, retains the Universal Championship over Baron Corbin. That said, Baron Corbin, I believe, much like some of these other aforementioned wrestlers like Braun Strowman, etc., will get more chances for the top belt soon and will probably win it this year. But regardless, Seth Rollins is my pick to retain. So of the 9 matches, I think that, like I said, the only championship I see changing hands is Alexa Bliss winning the SmackDown Women's Championship over Bayley. So we'll see. We'll see how this pay-per-view goes. If it's an interesting one, I guess we're already kind of on the initial road towards SummerSlam right now, which is the first of the big 4 pay-per-views in the WWE calendar year, coming up in August. So I think this pay-per-view tonight will have some implications towards that, even though it appears we're going to have one more pay-per-view in between. Okay, well, that wraps up my prediction show for Stomping Grounds today. Thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel below if you enjoyed what you heard today. Thanks again, and see you next time.